Hola, bienvenidos a Lightspeed Spanish. Today I'm going to talk about how I became fluent in Spanish in 2 years. Pues hablamos de todo en la segunda parte. Now, depending on whether you've learned a language or not, you could be saying, 2 years to get fluent. That's a long time, isn't it? Or you could be saying, wow, fluent in 2 years. That's a really short time. The people who have never learned a language before are the ones who say, 2 years. Okay, that seems like a long time, or okay, nothing special about that. Anybody who has spent time learning a language and is doing that now, you know that 2 years is a very quick time to become fluent. However, I've got to tell you something. The word fluent means many things to many people. What I mean when I say after 2 years I became fluent in Spanish, what I mean by that is that I could talk fluently. That means the words that came out flowed. Does that mean that the words that came out were correct? Not at all. Para nada. Para nada. I was committing errors, cometiendo errores. I was committing errors everywhere. Really I was, after 2 years. Why? Well, let me tell you how I became fluent in 2 years. So my company sent me from Rabat in Morocco over to Mexico, to Aguas Calientes. And there I was immersed in Spanish. I worked in a factory where, although many of the staff spoke English, the whole workforce only spoke Spanish. So on our immersion courses that we run here in Spain, people stay for a week. In a week, we see them go from like really scared and unable to express themselves, and on the Friday, suddenly they're chatting away and they understand everything. That's just 1 week. Imagine that multiplied by 104 times. I was there for roughly 2 years. The first year, let me tell you, in the first year, I didn't understand. I couldn't speak. I spoke like a Tarzan, literally like Tarzan. And in the first year, it was rock hard. I really didn't know anything. I didn't understand what was going on. And the issue was that I'd only been learning Spanish for about 6 months before I went to Mexico, and not at a great level. I mean, I had just an A1 beginner's level when I went there. And so I didn't have any structure to build on. I was just there like a child listening. And so for the first year, I didn't understand anything. And then, on the turn of the second year, something magical happened. And the magical thing was this. At the end of a conversation, I would say, I think I understand what they said. And I remember the very first meeting that I was in, where at the end of the meeting, I thought, wow, I think I've understood just about everything that was said. Was that true? Probably not. I probably hadn't understood everything, but what I had understood was the main themes that were being spoken, and that was such a big deal for me. And that's my story of how I became fluent, living in full immersion for 2 years. Right. The problem that we've got, most students, is you don't have the luxury of doing that, nor the opportunity of doing that. So how can you become fluent? And by the way, when I say fluent, remember, that doesn't mean accurate, just getting the words flowing at least. How could you do that in 2 years? Well, today we've got this incredible toolbox that I never had. I didn't have internet at the level that I have it now. I didn't have Duolingo. I didn't have Zoom. I didn't have ChatGPT, whereas everybody has now. And so the role that we have now of getting fluent, the job that we have to do is to create like a virtual immersion. And how do you do that? Well, the real trick, and this never changes, learning a language doesn't matter how much modernity we add to it, how much we throw at it with all of our apps and all of our extra hacks and tricks. It never changes. If you want to learn a language, what you have to do is on a daily basis, you have to read, you have to write, you have to listen, and you have to speak. And not necessarily in that order. If I were going to put it in a priority, then I would say, number 1, listen. Listen. Number 2, speak. Number 3, read. And number 4, write. Why am I putting them in that order? Because listening is what all children do before they ever speak. Look at little children. They don't speak, and you can talk to them and they understand what you're asking them. Why? Because the listening is the first skill. That's a skill. Okay? So that's the one that you do. Listen, 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 listen. If you can listen with subtitles, fantastic. Even better. But listen. Read out loud, as I've mentioned. Read out loud even when you don't understand what it is that you're reading. Get some friends, have a chat. Get some exchange friends where you can chat to them in Spanish and they can chat to you in English and you learn one another's language. That's great as well. Just create an immersion, a virtual immersion in your life. And that's how you get fluent. And do it every day. Even if it's 5 minutes, every day. That's the secret. Bueno, chicos, eso es todo. Muchas gracias por haber pasado un ratito conmigo. Vamos a seguir hablando en el futuro sobre los consejos y sobre el camino hacia la fluidez. Chicos, os quiero mucho. Hasta luego.